Mustafa Kashif, and we are going to continue the business of relationship discussion. So, relationship, like any other transaction, has a business side to it. There's a business side to relationships of which we have got to understand. Men bring something and women bring something. Men are providers and protectors in a relationship, whereas women are nurturers and sustainers. All right? So as we look at those two very important and vital roles, we have come to a very clear understanding right here, right off the top, that relationships are a business. You bring something, I bring something. Now, if you bring something to the relationship and it is not of value, then you cannot be considered a valued participant in that relationship. Men, I repeat, men are providers and protectors, while women are nurturers and sustainers. Let's talk a little bit about providing and protecting. Oftentimes, women have the tendency to view men's provision as monetary. It's mainly monetary. You pay the rent, you buy the food, you buy the clothes, you give me some money in my pocket, you take care of me. If you can't do that, chances are you cannot provide. While all of this is true, providing has much more to it. A man's role in a relationship is also to provide guidance, which is not oftentimes spoken of. If a man is unable to provide guidance in a relationship, he feels inadequate. Guidance and discipline is also a part of what a man provides in a relationship. When a man provides guidance, it is to say that he is also providing emotional stability in that household. Yes, he is the hunter and he's the gatherer, but he is also the emotional provider. And in the question of guidance, his decisions shall be looked at as important where his wife and his children are concerned. He provides guidance in the sense that if he sees something out there that can negatively affect his family and the household thereof, he gets the right and has the right to make a decision against that thing which can negatively affect his household. This is why a man is considered a leader or the leader in his household. There's a reason why he's considered the leader in his household. If a man is unable to lead in his house, there shall soon be a breakdown of authority, which will lead to a breakdown in the entire structure of the home. A woman, in her nurturing and feminine capacity, when she is a nurturer, what she's able to do is to give that man enough fuel in his tank on an everyday basis that he can go out there, face the world, and then come home to a place that is happy, to a place that is beautiful, to a place that gives him a sense of peace and tranquility. Her sustaining him and her nurturing him becomes vital for him to do his job. While on the flip side, him providing for her and nurturing, and providing and protecting her also is important for her to carry on. Relationships are a business. You bring something to the table, which is to nurture and sustain me. I bring something to the table, which is to protect and provide for you. Protecting and providing, nurturing and sustaining. Those are the important factors to begin any relationship, be it marriage or otherwise for that matter, but particularly in the case of marriage. Your best investment to your own future. But a polished and a cleaned up you is an even better asset. Now, a polished you is a mentally aware you. A polished and cleaned up you is a person who is wise and is able to listen carefully. A polished and cleaned up you is a godly person in every possible aspect. A polished and cleaned you is a person who eats well. Eats well meaning you eat when it's the right time, and also what you eat. I repeat, a polished you is a person who knows when to eat and what to eat. A polished you is a person who takes a little bit of time to conduct some regular exercises. In other words, to keep your dome, your dome and your body as fit as possible. And you must also be friendly, but yet firm. Now, these attributes, when brought in to a relationship, it can help. In fact, not only it can help, it will help. Why? Because these attributes are attractive to your partner. These attributes will be attractive to your partner. Now, also what's important is not to be afraid or ashamed of failure, because failure is only a reason to try again. Many of us have been in multiple relationships, but failure should not be a reason to become afraid of trying again. We are naturally made and created to have relationships. What we cannot be doing repeatedly is just having emotional relationships. Because when there is a failure, or when a failure takes place, then you become emotionally drained to the point where you don't want to try again. And who is to say that maybe the next time around can represent your success? But again, you have to bring something to the picture. You have to take care of you internally and externally. You have to have that desire to want to be successful in your relationships. Because remember, relationship is a business. It is a business like any other business. A business where two people come together, discuss an idea, put money, time, and effort into making that idea successful, that both parties can benefit from it in the end. That's what a relationship is. And how is it that we can have a friend for 30 years and can't keep the relationship with our wives or husbands for 5 years? Because we can and do respect the boundaries and the barriers of our friendships. We know how to respect the boundaries and the barriers of our friendships. We know what our friends like. We know what they don't like. We are willing to please them just like they are willing to please us. Why is it that we're having so much problems trying to understand the person that you choose to live with? Maybe one thing that we need to look at is to stop taking that person for granted. Ladies, let me tell you something quickly here. If you have this mentality of feeling privileged, oh, I did all the work, so therefore now it's my turn. No, there's no such thing. In other words, you may have done the work in one of your previous relationships. Now you come to sit down on this one and make this one a feeding bag for yourself. That cannot work. You still have to put work in. If you're going to be successful in a business transaction, you have got to put time, you've got to put money in, you've got to put effort in. And the same goes for your relationship. If you disagree with what I'm saying, let me hear it in the comments. If you agree with what I'm saying, let me also hear it and see it in the comment section. All right? And if you like what we're doing, we want you to subscribe to this program to help us to get there. We want to reach the entire globe if we can, because we are going to present a message of positivity and a message that is solution-based. Always remember this. Relationships are nothing else but a business transaction between two people. All right? Got it. Again, let me remind you what we're talking about, folks. Your relationship is a business transaction. Don't you ever forget that. Most of all, don't destroy the thing that you are going to need. Don't destroy the thing you're going to need. Both men and women, this message is for you. Do not destroy that thing that you are going to need. Let me give it to you in a different context. If you just bought a car, knowing the purpose for that vehicle, will you turn around, pour gasoline on the vehicle itself and light it afire? No, you're not going to do that. Would you get into your vehicle and deliberately drive it to the point where you can just go and crash it? No, you're not likely to do that. Why? Because you need that car. Treat the man in your life, treat the king in your life like you need him. Treat the queen, treat the woman in your life like you need her. This is not about men against women and women against men. Because here is something that is very important. People who are hurt are more likely to be more demanding than giving. Ladies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you are emotionally hurt from your relationship and you have become withdrawn and you just don't want to give yourself to another relationship, then you become very demanding. Well, it's got to be this way or it's got to be that way. It's got to be this and it's got to be that. Do you think that with that attitude, you're going into the next relationship with a positive mindset? No. And then ladies, you have another thing that you do. When you realize that you have nowhere to turn, then all of a sudden, Jesus becomes your one and only lover. I love Jesus. I'm married to Jesus. Now, stop being ridiculous. When did you get married to Jesus? You're not married to Jesus. You're just running from reality. And the reason why you're running from reality is because you weren't properly instructed when you were a girl to realize what you need to do to be in a healthy relationship with a man. Same goes for the men. Most of us men may not and were not properly instructed by our fathers and in some cases mothers. We were not instructed as to how to be in a healthy relationship with a woman. Healthy meaning as a man, you can take charge, you can lead your family, aside from just providing. Too many men out here provide but don't know how to protect. And if you as a man don't know how to protect your family, then you don't deserve one. If you don't know how to protect, you don't deserve a family. And ladies, if you were not raised with proper instruction, a proper instructional guide, being your mother or your auntie or even your sister or any female in your family who could have been a good example of what a marriage looks like, then it's just a matter of time before you fail, because the reason why you're going to fail is because you don't understand the transactional part of a relationship. You only understand the emotional side of a relationship. It's like a musician who can write great songs. He or she can perform great songs. But when it comes to the business side of that arrangement, he or she ends up 10 years later walking the streets broke, because somebody was clever enough to take all of his or her money away from him, take his musical rights away, and you end up broke. But you are the one who wrote the songs, but you don't own the songs. Typical example: if you don't understand that relationships is a business, you don't have any right being in one. Understand the business. Understand the business side of a relationship. So when you bring the emotional and you bring the business side of it, you are likely to survive in your relationship. And then from surviving, you are likely to succeed. For those of you who are already in relationship, I'm in a relationship. Most of us, perhaps we are in a relationship, married. That's what I'm talking about. And for those of us who are not in one, but is seeking to become a member of a healthy relationship, I say this to you: seek forgiveness for the wrongs that you have done. And most of all, learn to give forgiveness to the one that may have done you wrong. Because when you are healthy in mind, body, and soul, you are very much likely to become a good participant in a healthy relationship. Why am I stressing this? Because everything begins from two people being in a healthy relationship. When children come out of that relationship, the children will go on to what? Become what they saw. One of the reasons why we have so many broken homes is because we came from broken homes ourselves. But we can stop the madness. We can stop the mess. We can stop the disaster if we learn to seek forgiveness and we learn to give forgiveness. And then also to learn the business side of relationships and not only the emotional side. Thank you, folks. Thank you for listening as I greet you in these greeting words. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Here's a question. Why do homosexuals and lesbian relationships seem so contradictory at times? What I mean by this is, two homosexuals, two males, and the assumption is they are not interested in females, yet one of them oftentimes look like and act like a female. And the same goes for lesbian relationships. Two women in a lesbian relationships, the assumption is that they don't need a man. Yet, one of them looks like and acts like a male. That's something that I just can't understand. Hit us up in the comments with your take on that. I would love to hear from you. Take care. All right.